What's up guys, this is Strata. Today we're going to check out Dorchester, which is part of this mixed development, and the team is currently kind of lost. Let's go check it out. So we are now in Hartamas, one of definitely that luxury level address where it's surrounded by very prestigious locations such as Mont Kiara, such as Publika, which is the Dutamas area, such as the Damansara Heights. And guess who is the neighbor? Our Sultan. And we are now in this mixed development called Plaza Damas, which is this shop office area right now, where on the bottom is all the retails. You have some mamas, some restaurants, some wine bar. Then on the top, those will be all the offices. Then on top of that, there will be residents, also Hartamas shopping center. And looking at the tenant mix around, it's a mix though. Like, I cannot really tell whether it's this targeting the working crowd, the office crowd, or families, because you have tuition centers on the upper floor, then you have accountant offices, then you have cafes, then you have child development center, then you got very nice restaurant, banquet, then along to the mall, then you can have all your commercial needs satisfied already. It's a very mixed vibe. Let's go check out further. So in between block E and F of the Plaza Damas, we have all the convenience stores right in front. This will be a very nice cafe restaurant. That will be the entrance to the project. Anyway, next to the entrance, this will be my kiddie land, and it looks like it's a conversion of the old gym of somewhat the hotel into a tadika, which is, I think, awesome lah. And this seems like another entrance into Plaza Damas, where it's also the exit from the building. Wow, pretty convenient. And you just look into the traffic that's going on, right? It's a rather popular location still until today. Coming up from the lift lobby, we are now in the floor plate, and here we have 32 units laid in a hotel design floor plate, and it's only served by 2 lifts. But we gotta say the lift speed was tremendously fast. Okay, and we are now in level 5. So this is the lift pit actually, which is one of a very weird design that we have seen. This will be the refuse area, I think, I'm not too sure. And from the corridor, it doesn't feel like a corridor, it feels like a day one, like a hall. And what gives it that very old vibe is the size of the tile and the texture of the tiles. Okay, so now we can see that directly from the corridor, you will get to your unit, and that applies to the entire floor plate. So the ceiling width is nice, it's 2 meters, but the height then is rather intimidating, 2.3 meters only. So the entire yellow color is also contributed by the artificial lighting, and the utilities are all packed in the center of the floor plate. So technically, this is also a double loaded corridor, and within the corridor, this will be the refuse room. Yeah, so this is the refuse room. You will have an active ventilation system, and the tiles are even smaller than the one outside. Wow, these are ancient. You look into the door. Yep, a lot of signs of aging. So overall, it just gives you a very old hotel vibe, and it's dark. I'm just not too sure when it's like night time, because now even in the daytime, it's like 12 o'clock right now. Heavily dependent on artificial lighting. And the weirdest thing is when you have a separate unit at the corner like that. So in terms of floor plate efficiency, then you can see a lot of wastage of space. Anyway, this will be the unit I'm going to check out today. Directly from the corridor, we can go in already. Anyway, coming in, this is a 770mm clearance door. This is a 2.1 meters door, so like air rendah sangat also can reach. So it's pretty small. And there's no buffer at all when you come in, so you gotta figure out where you put your shoes. A lot of people actually just put outside like that, but I don't know whether they got theft or not. And coming in straight away, this will be the position of the fridge, the kitchen, and then this will be the living, dining, and the access to balcony already. Something to point out first, because this is really unfamiliar territory, as this is a 22-year-old building. We couldn't really find any floor plans for this building, especially this unit layout. However, this is a 2-bedroom unit, 880 square feet. This is derived from the property platform, and the current asking price is about 520,000. However, we do see a lot of studio units being sold right now, and the price is actually very affordable compared to the surrounding addresses like Mont Kiara and Dutamas, which is borderline selling like 6 times more the price. This one, good bargain if you are walking around the area lah. Especially if you compare that with the current rental rate. So for a fully refurbished unit like this, anyway it's done by the makeover guys, right? The current asking rent per month is around 3,000. And if you can get like 2.8 or 2.9, right? That makes the investment worthwhile also ma. But anyway, we are now in the kitchen area. This distance here is about 1.8 and this distance here is about 1.5. So you have the basin located next to this window created by the gap between beams. Because this is an old building as mentioned, the building technology back then didn't really have shear wall lah, flat slab lah to be applied within the construction world. So you will have a column that is actually as big as me. Let's just check the dimension. So the column size is about 680 mm, a square one. So it's really bigger than me. When it's smacked in between spaces like this, right, it's rather intimidating. Like when you have one and one like that overlaying each other, it really affects the floor unit layout. This makes me appreciate the current construction method that we are applying right now. Anyway, here you will have refurbished kitchen cabinet by the makeover guys. This is a 2-burner cooktop and hood by Frenzy, furnished by the team, and it comes with a mechanical ventilation system. Also, because this is an older design, you can see that the ceiling height is also pretty limited. To be exact, 2.3 meters only. The second sign of the aging is when you have a mosaic size backsplash. Okay, so the last time when you think about 300mm tiles or 450mm tiles, right, those are luxurious things. Like now when we have 1 meter, people still complain to have the gap or grout in between, right? This used to be the layout. How times has changed. Anyway, for the kitchen area, you will have tiles, but this looks refurbished. Then this will have the laminated timber floor. So coming out, this will be a 6-seater dining area. And this feels way better on the ceiling height compared to the 2.3 level from the kitchen area. Now you can see the drop in level. That drop there is easily about 900mm because the ceiling's height for the normal area, the clearance, is about 3.2 meters. That there is 2.3 meters on the kitchen end. But I still appreciate the effort in opening a window back then like that, so that you will have this very nice connection between the living, dining, and the back of house. But the setback again for the structural system is you will have beams just flying across the unit like that, and you will have columns at the corners. One of the main reasons why people don't like condos also back then. But after refurbished, it looks cozy enough, connecting to the living space. So the wall-to-wall width here is very luxurious, 3.85 meters. And that's also one of the main difference between older design and new designs. Older buildings tend to have more luxurious space. 880, 22 years ago, I think it's mini unit. But now it has turned to a unit in our lifestyle, easily a 3-bedroom one if you convert for today, right? And the expectation for such units, especially for the studio units, right, is often used as short-term stay, long-term stay, and currently a lot of units are actually being rented out because I think the primary owners all are also very old already lah. Imagine you buy this when you are 25, right? Now it's already 47 years old, And the weirdest thing is the asking price is not too crazy based on the asking rent, based on the business activities within the surroundings. So within Plaza Damas already you can see a lot of traffic jam, a lot of people actually do hang out in Hartamas shopping center. It's a hidden community thing because Hartamas is built on this row of landed houses, right? And back then Dutamas was not a thing yet, Publika was not a thing yet. So now with Publika, it's even better. A lot of residents would just prefer to just stop by within this Hartamas shopping center instead of going over to Mont Kiara side of things. That's why within the shopping center, there's a lot of banquet halls, a lot of big Chinese restaurants, big Western restaurants. It's catering to the surrounding neighborhoods. So the strategy, if you are thinking of getting a unit like this, right, is merely the refurbishing cost and the need to tackle all the utility issues like the piping, leaking, painting. Because the building is this, right, it's a very fine line between old and charming. If you really play the design language right, old buildings has its charm, like the beams like that, then the width is nice. The sense of space is very good compared to the units that we have now at a very reasonable price within a very matured neighborhood. But if you don't decorate it or you don't work on it, right, it's just an old building. And this living room connected to the balcony outside. And if you just look into the glass, there's no tinting. And back then, if you can see, right, they didn't open up a lot of the facade for the glazing. Actually, it's just a mere 1/3 of the whole facade area. What a huge difference in design approach, right? But going out, this will be the balcony, and we are now in a low floor, but at least it's like 1 or 2 floors higher than the office towers, so that's nice. Kesian je if for those, right, who is getting the unit right above them. So you can see a lot of clothes, right, that's fly out from the residents last time lah. And looking at the traffic, you can see traffic is congested already just to come in. That's always good in terms of business prosperity. And this will be the balcony. The width of the corridor is 1.15 meters. Actually very comfortable. Steel handrail. And in terms of tiling, they are giving the 150 mm tiles, a rather small one. But the balcony actually spans across the unit. So it's actually connected to the master bedroom as well. Connected right over to this side. So it's like a 270-degree balcony that gives you this amazing view. So this is the contrast, and we see that absolute high density address, easily the highest density address in KL, Mont Kiara. And right opposite you will have the Hartamas, which is all the landed around. And this is now Plaza Damas, Sheraton right in front. So that highway actually connects you over to KLGGC side and PJ side of things. And just look into the mountain view there. Cantiknya. Again, just check out the age of all the facilities, right? You can see it's all rusted already on the aircon support. I think that one also need to change sooner or later. The paints that are all peelings, handrail that is all rusting already, molds everywhere. These are just signs of aging, but if you decorate them nicely, then it's all charming. On this side, then you get to see the Sultan's punya tempat. And the background will be PMB and KLCC lah. Wow. So that side also is where you head to work. This side is where you go and play. But just that this distance between balcony, because unit after unit after unit is actually very close to each other, it's kind of awkward when we are hanging out here, they are hanging out there at the same time. Yeah, and you see they place the washing machine outside, right, at the balcony. That was the design intent back then. So coming in, there will be 2 bedrooms. Let's check out the first one. And wow, you just look into that depth of beam. Wow! So the size of the room is 3.16 by 3.8 meters. It's larger than a conventional master bedroom already, definitely. But you can see that beam that just cuts across the room like that. Wow, this is... whew. So as the unit ceiling height is about 3.25 meters, this is only 2.25 meters, means the beams are 1 meters deep. So at the corner also you will have a column like this that forms a king here. It's just unfriendly to designs, but I appreciate that those are located at controlled areas already. And the symptom of older building, window sizes are smaller to control cost, I guess. And this is the view that you get outside lah. That's the dream lah, right? That's the dream. I work there, stay here. Oh, it's Changi. Anyway, coming out from the bedroom, I like that there's a foyer before entering into the space. But I must say, for 880 square feet, a 2-bedroom is very comfortable lah. Then when you come in, this is the common bathroom. I think these are all new. Right, they changed the flooring, they changed the tiles, they changed the window, I think. Right, they even treat the ceiling. So this is very delightful. Next to the bathroom, this will then be technically the master bedroom, but hey, I don't think that's master bedroom because 2 bedrooms actually share 1 bathroom. So just that this is a bedroom that has connection to the balcony outside. So the size of the bedroom is 3.82 by 3.56. It's huge in today's context, where you can put in a queen size bed here, wardrobe, and you still have a lot of space for circulation. They adopt the same wooden flooring all across. However, you still have the similar issue of the columns and beams lah. So you have beams cutting across the whole unit. And to an extent, it even affects the location of the blower for the aircon, because after that is all the beam, you cannot drill hole, you can just put within the brick wall itself. And this is a connection to the balcony, which I absolutely don't like lah. So what's the point of having a connectivity to it and access to it, but when I have visitors outside, then it will be very weird. Unless if I were to partition out the living room as another room, then suddenly, hey, I got multiple rental options for this unit. Just that within this area, this is under DBKL, so partition of rooms is actually prohibited already. Too bad. Another benefit for this room is that you have this window here and another window there, so you will have 2 sides of facade, because this is actually a corner unit, and the view to this side will be on the landed housing and to Mont Kiara. So now we are in the facility deck, sort of. So this is the gym. I think the treadmill is a new one by Healthstream. We have a free weight bar area, bicycle one. It's facing the main entrance. So these are all the compressors, and that's the main entrance actually. So you will have a machine, and that's about it. Ceiling wise, it's just exposed with some lighting. Can you work on this? Yes, just not as fancy as what we are familiar with lah. Then just looking into the common areas, you will have a lot of leaking issue. That's why they just cut out the plaster ceiling to fix them. But maybe it's a hassle to just patch back since it's a constant occurrence, right? This will then be the connection to the service lift. Yeah, so a lot of wasted common areas like this. And I think these used to connect to the other side of the building, but they just closed it after Strata Act was enacted. Next to the gym, on the upper platform, we are now in the pool area. So looking at the pool is actually very delightful. Like the tiles is clean. I think it's also new. So maintenance work are actually in progress, and it's actually shaded. Okay, so you have a double ceiling height that's ongoing right now. However, old building issue, there are repair works ongoing. So that is all where all the piping is, and this is where they leak lah. So I think this is the era where they are still trying to find out how to eliminate the pipings from on top. So if you pay attention to plaster ceiling also, we can see all the joints are rather fresh, because I think they keep fixing and fixing lah. That's too bad, because this vibe is actually very nice. like the landscape treatments and the ages, right? I won't mind playing in one of these pools. And just look into that, this is also a unit by itself. That is so cool. However, this is then a bit too close to the office units. You can actually see through them. Next to that, you will have a kids wading pool, and next to a somewhat playroom or common hall. So I don't know what is this, and they use old school lock system. So as we come out from the unit now, right, so this is immediately the commercial area, and you can see a lot of F&B, a lot of cool stuff, the folk club, Pilates studio, and that is the unit, one of the unit that we're going to check out, either one, right? So those are the balconies, and this is the level of mixed development that we see. Very cool, and we can see a lot of families are actually doing their thing. Very nice. So coming out from the side door, you will have all these convenience stores right at your doorstep, right? And I really like how the common areas are utilized, where it's all the extension of the F&B outlets, and we can see everybody in working outfits. So everybody's in their office setting, which is nice, and walking distance you are already in Hartamas shopping center, you will have Family Mart, you will have Starbucks coffee center. And I guess that's all for the project. It's now time for Sean's 3 on 3. And the very first thing I like, definitely the address, because this is really in between Mont Kiara, in between Damansara Heights, in between Dutamas area, which you have Publika, and it's an extension to BJ, to the new highways and things like that. So it's really convenient. Not only that, it's a hub for business activities. So you just think about who is going to rent your unit, right? When most of the time it's going to be people who are going to be based around this area. So now where we can see a lot of expats walking around, Chinese, Caucasians, Koreans, Japanese, Middle Easterns, everybody is here. That's why it's a mixture that we see within the retail choices as well. So it's a very mixed, as we mentioned in the start of the episode, right? So that's number one. Number two, the mixed development portion feels like a 22-year-old version Publika. When you have Plaza Damas integrating with Dorchester, which is the apartment unit, then we also have Mayfair, then we have hotels in the front, shopping center in the center. Yeah, and this was done, I think, if not mistaken, before Strata Act was really a thing. That's why you can see a lot of very blurred lines within the car park layout, within the common areas designation. There must be a lot of arguments on who maintains which unit or which area back then. But that also forms a charm when we look into the retail area. Like when we come down, right, this really feels like that true mixed development. From the window of your unit, right, you can technically order food if you want to. So like for the convenience store right at the doorstep, tuition center right in front, shopping center, technically everything you need is all within walking distance. You are even shaded because now it's actually raining, so this will put things into test. Okay, so I think in that older time format, when everything was linear, it means like residential and commercial and industrial and retail all are separated out. This one is a good mix altogether. Then for the last thing I like will be the unit layout. For a 880, you got a 2-bedroom unit that is spread across each corner, very wide, and the width and the length and the height is actually very nice. Compared to the today's context of our unit, this is considered luxury definitely. And the balcony that is actually 270. So that's pretty rare, and with the limitation of the structural elements, they still try to maximize everything, which is nice, like to have an opening from the kitchen to the living. Like for the corner bedroom, you have 2 windows, right? Those are actually pretty innovative stuff even for a 22-year-old building. I like that. For the things that I'm concerned of, number one, definitely the maintenance of the building. So when we look into the building, we can see a lot of signs of wear and tears, meaning leakage issue lah. Because I think at that time, they didn't think so far, and at that time you don't have the 3D software to actually check the clashing points and things like that. And areas that are affected mainly are within the common areas, especially in the gym, with the swimming pool area, with the corridor, and the designation of common areas also. Like last time you have kind of like the hotel room usage, luggage room, gym room for the guests only kind of setting, but the gym room was actually turned into a kids school, so that's actually better in my opinion. But mainly it's just leakages issue. That's why a lot of ceilings are actually open up just to fix the piping, especially the one within the swimming pool area. But that does not mean that the swimming pool is not nice. Like the tiles are refurbished, like the unit as well is also refurbished to a level where I think it's comfortable. So now it's a very fine line between charm and old. So that takes a lot of work, plus the usage of resources. Whenever you come to this kind of building, maintenance fee collection will be the crucial aspect of it. The second thing will be the mixed development portion of it, and I'm not too sure what year was Strata Title enacted. Yeah, because like when you look into the common areas that was designated out between components, like for Plaza Damas you will have all the retail areas, right? Then for the apartments you have the residential, then for the retail shopping center area it's all different. Where's the line that you draw between maintenance? So when we come to complex buildings like this, we will have common and common areas. But if you look into the retail, borderline it's happening, borderline is prosperous. But if you just want to seek a hideout, to seek an escape during your resting time or your alone time, right, this is definitely not the location lah. Especially if you are within the lower floor area, it's pretty intimidating. Like convenience and serenity is always on both ends of the spectrum, so this is on the other side of the spectrum. Then the last thing will be the old design approaches. Number one will be the structural elements that one cannot change lah. But because of that, you will have restrictions within the unit layout. So you will have columns that's bigger than the fridge. You will have beams that are 1 meter deep. That affects the entire feel of the rooms. The second thing will be the decision to kind of not have a master bathroom. That is also, again, context-wise, like 20 years ago, what else is within the market? We need to look for comparison to actually validate that theory. But like now, master bedroom is actually defined by the ensuite bathroom, right? But this one, no, it actually shared bathroom. But is it workable? Yes. To an extent, we are actually evolving our current design back to this format. But within that floor plate layout also, it was very efficiency based to a level that this feels like a hotel layout where you have 2 lifts only in the center, 1 service lift behind, servicing 20 over units. It's actually pretty high density core, definitely for that context. But for today, this is a common layout used for investment based or investment oriented buildings. Yeah, then for the common areas, like the fact that you need to climb up the stairs to the swimming pool means that the engineers didn't think of the pump room requirements when they draw out the planning. That's why you don't really see a lot of inclusivity elements within the project, because back then it's not as sensitive. People were not as aware. And also the inlet and outlet for the building, because this again feels like a older Publika version 0. This street alone feels definitely like it. So in terms of prosperity and relevance, it's definitely there, but just that I'm not too sure why the pricing of the unit doesn't reflect that. Most likely due to the ownership, most likely due to the renovation works required or the refurbishment work required to the unit lah. But once, like for this unit, it's actually made over by the makeover guys, it's definitely charming to a certain extent. Like I don't mind staying. That's the level, right? Because in terms of lifestyle, solid. Thai food, bars, banana leaf, mama, convenience store, fashion, digital, everything all here. And if you work around proximity, right? If you work around Mont Kiara, what a bargain, right? Compared to what you have, the modern building at this size is going to be about 5,000. Here it's only 3,000. Solid. And once again, thank you very much for the owner for sharing this. I really appreciate it. Dial back into time, right? And I guess that's all for today. If you really like this episode, like it, share, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.